Enjoy work, honey. I'm gonna go talk about stoves in the park. What's up, everybody? I'm psyched you're back. Let's talk stove systems. So the stove plus the pot. For me, I like to have 3 of them, and I actually have 3 of most things when it comes to gear selection and backpacking. So I have 3 sleeping bags, I have 3 shelters. I found this is really kind of the magic number for being versatile throughout the year without having too much stuff and too much crap lying around the house. So first up is my favorite, alcohol stoves. Super light, super easy to take care of. There's no moving parts, so you don't have to worry about breaking anything. You only have to take as much fuel as you want, so you don't have to worry about carrying a full canister like you do with an upright canister stove, which I'll get to in a little bit here. Downsides are really going to be they don't have quite so much heat output, so a little bit more difficult to, say, cook for a group or melt snow. That said, you know, a lot of people have used them in the snow. Justin Lichter, and Sean Forey, they used it for their winter Pacific Crest Trail hike. They used the same stove that I have, just with a slightly larger pot, and they used that to melt snow. Granted, they had a ton of time on their hands at night because it was dark for, 14 hours or whatever, so they really had nothing better to do but melt snow. So it's not necessarily the most efficient for that, but it can be done. So again, hands down, my absolute favorite. I should also add, this is Andrew Skirka's stove of choice as well. Some folks say that they don't work as well at higher elevations. I don't know, people use them on the Pacific Crest Trail all the time that gets up to 14,000 feet or whatever. So I don't really see it being a problem, but again, anecdotally, that's what people say. Unfortunately, alcohol stoves often aren't allowed when you have a burn ban in effect, which is pretty much all the time during the summer here in the Pacific Northwest and also down into California. So you should add a second stove to your arsenal, and that's going to be the upright canister stove. So this is a pretty common one. You're going to see them all the time on the trail. Probably the most common stoves that you're going to see, to be honest. And it's just a burner that you twist onto a canister that you can get at the store. They're like $5. You can get them at, REI or Cabela's or wherever you want to. They are super simple. They have way less of a learning curve than the other 2 stoves that we're going to discuss here. And also, they work super well. So you can use them in the winter, you can use them at high elevation, and you're not going to have any problems at all. If you had to have one stove, this would probably be the one that I personally would pick, just because you can use them, again, anywhere, even during a burn ban. The upright canister stoves are really just going to end up being a bit heavier, ultimately, than the alcohol stoves, mostly just because, if you have just a little bit of fuel left in a can, now you need to carry 2 cans so that you have another one for you to use. But they do have a bit more oomph than the alcohol stove, so again, you can use them for melting snow really well. Or if you're cooking for a group and you want to do multiple batches, so like, make some coffees and then make some food. It's way easier than it is with the alcohol stove, which is a little bit more of a production because you're kind of filling it up every time. So again, a really good all-arounder for all seasons. So finally, that brings us to the last stove that you should have in your pack, and that is the granddaddy of all stoves, which is the remote canister. Chances are, if your parents or your grandparents are into backpacking, you've seen one of these before, and they have one. Usually made by MSR, but there's a bunch of other companies that make them as well. I have a Whisperlight International. I've had it for probably 20 years. It's awesome. It uses white gas. You can also use kerosene, gasoline in it. Please don't use kerosene or gasoline. It makes it dirty as hell. But you could if you wanted to or you needed to. These stoves are pretty heavy, but they put out an incredible amount of power. So I normally pair that up with a larger pot, right? And then I can use that in the winter for melting snow. That way you don't have to keep on like refeeding it and that kind of thing. And also it's really, really good for groups because you can cook, large meals for multiple people or boil water for multiple people with it. And there you have it, the only 3 stove systems that you'll need. If you found this even remotely entertaining or informative, please consider giving it a like and subscribe so that I can continue making more videos. Thanks.